before I went to MIT, I served in the Army as a lieutenant for a couple of years. So I had taken a science BS. So I noticed that all the bosses and managers were either doctors or engineers, physicians or engineers. So I immediately could see my career was limited. So I switched to engineering because of that. I graduated from MIT in 1957 with an SM degree in what was called sanitary engineering. The SM is a term that MIT uses for a master's degree. So my thesis was in the use of chemical oxygen for biological systems as opposed to gaseous oxygen. And my professor published a paper on that subject. Ross McKinney was his name. I was recruited from MIT by Union Carbide Corporation, where I wound up working for 40 years in the environmental engineering field. When I first started, the company had about 3 trained engineers. One happened to be from MIT. When I left, they had 53 or 83. There's quite a change over the years. My main interests were biological treatment, which was my master's dissertation, master's thesis, and then I switched to the fate of chemicals in the environment, the petrochemicals that Union Carbide made. My main accomplishments were in the 3 years I mentioned. As far as biological treatment, I was able to publish quite a few papers in different aspects, mixing, oxygen transfer, aerated stabilization, anaerobic ponds. And fortunate that many of them were awarded prizes, medals from different organizations. And then I put together a book on treatment of industrial waste. Arguably, it was the first book that was based on the processes rather than the specific industries. So that was quite well purchased, I guess. So my second major field was the fate of chemicals in the environment. And again, I put together a book. That one I didn't co-author, but I was the editor, and I recruited all the authors of the specialty chapters. And arguably, it was the first book that did that, comprehensive coverage of the fate of chemicals in the environment. And I acknowledged the real experts and pioneers in the field, because I felt a little guilty that I was scooping them with this first book in the field. And that was well received. So my company allowed me to serve on various advisory committees. So along with 2 of the legacy people who are here, Dr. Herb Ward and Walter Weber, I served on various committees and boards of the National Research Council, which is a component of the national academies, and it advises the government in terms of policy. My main effort was to come up with regulations and policies that allowed industry to be economically attractive as well as environmentally safe. So on that effort, one of these societies, CTAC, Society of Environmental Toxicology and Chemistry, awarded me a career award, the Rachel Carson Award, which for an industrial person to win the Rachel Carson Award was a surprising thing. So Dr. Ward was one of the nominators, I'm sure. And the other two advisory committees I was on was the US EPA Science Advisory Board, where I became the chairman of the engineering committee, and served about 10 years on that board. And we did a lot of regulations in the remediation area. Again, protecting industry, not protecting industry, but becoming the balance between industry and safe environment. The third area was with the Department of Defense. They had a strategic research and development program, and they had a science advisory board too. So our first budget was $130 million, so it was a big program. Anyway, I recommended a lot of my colleagues to succeed me, and they did a better job. But still, I got them started anyway. It was the first board that I was on when they just started this program. Well, those are the three major. I certainly had mentors during my career. Ray Lair was at the University of Texas, was one person that guided my career. Other colleagues, Herb Ward at Rice, he was kindly put me on some of his advisory committees, so I got that knowledge that way, and I got to know some very capable people, and same thing on all the boards I served on in the National Academy. Like a number of people here, Phil Singer and Walter Weber, I also was elected to the National Academy of Engineering. It so happens 25 years ago. So I get my special little pin this year for 25 years, service with the National Academy of Engineering. So that's my career. I appreciate the opportunity to speak here.